is absent.
Okay, thank you, Julio. All right, so the first order of business, we're gonna do 3 meetings, the IDA first, the Funding Corp second, the LDC third, so just to keep it straight. So the first order of business is to approve the meeting minutes of the IDA from February 14th, which was recessed to February 24th. And they are in your packet. Hopefully everybody got a chance to look at those. And if you did, are there any questions? If not, I have a motion to approve.
Can I make a correction, please?
Yes, Carol, please.
It might be a rather petty thing, but, oh, I'm sorry. No, it's in the Funding Corp. Forget it. No.
Okay, never mind.
Never mind.
So Carol, your
Okay.
mistake was there was no mistake? Is that what you're saying?
No, the mistake was that it's in the Funding Corp, not in the IDA minutes.
Gotcha.
Okay, so now that Carol has made a motion to approve those minutes, who's a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Paul,
Here.
all in favor?
There is actually a mistake. There is a mistake in the minutes,
Okay.
which is there's one typo. We had mistyped the name of the county attorney. So we'll update that to show Mike McGuire,
Okay,
the attendance list. So apologies for that, but we'll correct that.
got it. Okay, so with that correction, Carol made a motion to approve. Paul second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, minutes approved. We'll move on to bills and communications, which I believe there was a revised statement put in the packet, Jen?
Yes, the revised payment schedule shows 12 total payments in the amount of $22,640.04. So the revision that I sent out to you on Friday was just, we had a couple more bills that we received from Christ. So their total payment went up from $104.94 to $320.64. And then the payment schedule also attaches, for your information, summaries of the 3rd and 4th pilot distributions. So we've now distributed all the pilot payments for 2022.
Great.
And Julio sent around a very well detailed summary. Thank you, Julio. That was very helpful. We often get calls asking about pilot distributions, and that was a good place to capture it all, so we won't have to go scurrying around looking for little parts and pieces.
Great. Okay, so can I have a motion to approve the bills and communications?
Move it.
Ed,
I'll second it.
Howard second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
It's
Staff activity report, Jen?
I have a couple of quick updates. Last month, the board authorized staff to submit applications for USDA funding through their Rural Business Development Grant Program. So at the end of the month, we did submit 2 applications. Both are for technical assistance to assist a small-scale red meat processing facility, and one to assist a small-scale poultry processing facility. So it'll be a few months before we hear about those applications, but I just wanted to let you know we did submit those 2. And the other update is I've been asked to participate in a panel breakfast discussion coming up on March 24th. It's organized by the Partnership for Economic Development, and it's kind of an overview of how economic development projects happen in Sullivan County. And it looks like a lot of the attendees are contractors and consultants, and also representatives of local planning and zoning boards. So I'll report out on that next month.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Jen about her report that was submitted in the packet? Okay, hearing none. I guess we can move on. Do we need we don't need a motion to approve that, or do we?
We don't.
Okay, so let's move on to old business. I know we had one resolution we talked about in the last meeting about authorizing additional funding to move into the agribusiness revolving loan and lease fund in the amount of $500,000. So I believe we have a resolution in front of us, Walter, to approve that now.
Correct.
Okay.
This is what we discussed in the last meeting, correct?
Yes. And since the last meeting, there could be yet another applicant. So this is probably very timely.
Timely. Okay, so get a motion first to approve the resolution.
I'll make it.
Howard,
Second it.
second Ed. Any further discussion on this resolution? Okay, let's call the question. All in favor of the resolution? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, carries. Now we'll move on to new business. The first resolution for our consideration is amending in part and reaffirming in part the agency's current uniform tax exemption policies and creating one additional program, which is the Sullivan County International Airport Program. So we've talked about this in our past meetings, and now we're actually at the point where we want to approve the amendments and this new addition. So let's get a motion first, then we can see if there's any discussion. Can I have a motion to approve this resolution? Carol. Second, Scott.
Scott.
Okay, any discussion on this resolution? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approving, say aye or wave your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nope.
Okay, approved. Let's move on to the next, which is authorizing an amendment of the Adelar Development LLC pilot agreement to authorize acceptance of a guarantee from EPR Properties as financial security for the 2023 pilot payment. Walter, enlighten us, please.
Well, I'm going to ask Howard to enlighten you. Our pilot agreement provides for either cash collateral or a letter of credit as financial security for the next ensuing pilot payment. In the past, the property owner of the Cartwright Water Park Hotel, Water Park and Hotel, is a taxable subsidiary of EPR Properties, which is a public company. And EPR Properties has, in lieu of posting cash or a letter of credit, asked the agency, and the agency for the past 2 years has agreed that they would accept a guarantee from the parent company in lieu of other financial security. So Howard, as the liaison for this project, went through their financial statements and is prepared, I guess, to either recommend for or against accepting the parent company guarantee.
So I went through their financials, and there's a couple things that are notable. They're actually starting to do better, and they're going to give it a 10% increase in their monthly dividend. But they've redone their revolving credit facilities and actually increased them by $400,000 to $2 billion, and they're not tapped into it at all. So they're, besides the fact that they have a ton of cash on hand, they also have a couple $1 billion revolving credit facility, and it's untouched. And their financials, I don't want to go into it because it's a little tedious. If anybody's interested, I can send you a short 20-page document that gives a lot of thoughts about EPR. If you're interested, it's easy enough to shoot to you. And I wasn't being facetious. This 20 is a lot better than the other 60.
That's great.
So I make a recommendation that we, once again, accept EPR as the financial backstop should Adelar have a problem in meeting their obligations.
You need a motion for that?
We do, Ed.
We have, yeah, I'll make it.
Okay, Ed moved. Can I have a second? Scott,
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All
So
right.
is it fair to say that the casino is looking a little bit better?
Well, this
Well-
has to do with the Cartwright Water Park, but it's also fair to say that.
Okay.
Great.
That is-
Okay. The next item is for discussion is the Rural Micro Entrepreneur Assistance Program loan to Sullivan Sundries LLC. Walter?
I'm going to ask Julio to take that. He did a fine job of summarizing it, sending it around to the committee. The 3 members of the committee have all suggested that we approve the loan. But Julio, if you could just give a short summary of what the purpose is and the amount of the loan.
Sure. We received an application for the renovation of the former hardware store on Main Street in Jeffersonville. They they've started construction already. However, they're planning to complete the final phase of the project, which is finishing out the commercial store on the main floor. And the total project cost is $120,000, and they've requested $50,000 from the Rural Micro Entrepreneur Assistance Program. It'll be a joint loan with the partnership, who is also committing the same $50,000. So we hopefully you'll approve. It'll be a 5-year loan at 4% interest.
Does anybody have any questions about the loan?
What are the chances of success of this operation? They compete with a lot of big ones, don't they?
I would say, it's a lifestyle store. They're going to be selling hardware, housewares, and cookwares. And generally, the housing prices in Sullivan County have almost doubled in the past 2 years. And I think people need to furnish their homes.
No, I understand that, but there are other much more robust operations that they're competing with. I suppose it's okay. They want to put their money in it. It just, I'm a little bit skeptical. Let's put it that way.
So it's interesting, and just a 2-second, it's a hardware store too, correct, Julio?
No, it was a former hardware store.
It was a hardware store.
It's now
before.
going to be a place where you buy like Pendleton blankets and fancy teapots.
Oh, okay. I was gonna liken it to being surprised that the Trading Post in Liberty survived when you have Lowe's and Home Depot and all of those, which they thought would go under, and that's thriving. But this is different, so.
It's the kind of place that the Gariglianos shop at.
There you go.
Well, I assume that our committee has vetted it, the partnerships vetted it. So
I hope, by the way, I hope they succeed. It's just,
yeah,
it's a little bit off the beaten track. Let's put it that way.
And Julio, we'd be getting personal guarantees from the owners of the borrower. And I think John Kiefer looked at their financials and believed that they were worthy of consideration. John, is that correct?
Yes. What's her name? Moya. Julio, help me. Moya.
Yeah, her name is Rebecca Moyers.
Moya. Yeah,
And
she
David
has a very significant liquid net worth, in excess of $500,000 of readily available cash assets, and she has a salary of over $400,000 a year. So
And needs a hobby, Paul.
Yeah.
Right. I was gonna say that. That's
okay, so
funny.
I think let's call the question. All in favor of approving this loan, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, approved. The next one, the next two matters are actually potentially matters for executive sessions. So if we're going, well, I guess the first one is the self-evaluation forms. I don't know do we typically do that in an executive session, Jen?
We can do it in closed session, but I'm still collecting them. And so this gets to another item for later, which is that we're still working on the excuse me. The self-evaluation forms are one of the annual reporting requirements to New York State. And we're also still working on our public authorities reporting information system reports and our audit reports. And those all have to be done by the end of the month. I haven't received all or most of the self-evaluation forms yet. So if you would, there will be a need for all three boards to meet later in the month. And we could do the self-evaluation forms at that time, once I have them all together.
So for every one of you who falls in the description of all or most who haven't turned them in, please do so. And by the way, Jen pointed out that you can use the form if your answers were the same for the three entities, likely they are. You can use one form and just indicate all three entities on the top, but please try to get those into Jen as soon as you can.
Nice.
Okay, so you also heard what Jen said, that we're going to need another meeting before the end of the month. So do we want to try to establish that now, Jen, or have you already figured that out, or is it too soon to know?
I have gotten some dates and times from the county legislature when the big hearing room is available. The executive order that allows us to meet remotely expires this Wednesday. I don't know if it'll be extended again. So I have asked for and got some availability for the big room at the government center on various days between the 24th and 30th of this month. And I can let you know those dates if you want to look at that now and decide on something.
I mean, it might be easier if we could just do it right now, if everybody could pull out their calendar.
I would like to ask that you do it as close to the end of the month as you can. Let's say the 29th or 30th. We received, I believe today, Jen, this morning, a request from the Golf Project and Entertainment Village Project at the former Concord Hotel, both entities of which are related to the owner of the casino, for some modifications and a request that they increase the size of their golf course from 12 holes to 18 holes. And there's some urgency having been expressed by them in terms of responding to that. So for that reason, I would ask that we do it the 29th or 30th, if that's available, Jen.
So the times that, yes, anytime after 12 on the 29th, the hearing room's available, and between 9 and 12 on the 30th. So if Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday morning.
I can
work.
the Tuesday afternoon, but I can't do the Wednesday.
That's ditto.
So you can do Tuesday, the 29th after 12 is what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah,
How many of us can do that? I can do that too. Raise your hand if you can do that. It'll be easy to see.
I will not be in person though.
Okay, so Paul can't do it. Carol, you can? Let's see if we have a quorum. Carol, Howard, Scott? No. Okay, I can, that's 3. Ed, you can,
Yeah.
that's 4. So we have 4. That's not gonna do it.
not a quorum.
And if we shifted to the 30th, who could do the 30th between 9 and 12? Carol, me.
I can
Scott.
only do it until 10.
Okay, so you could do a 9 to 10 a.m. meeting.
Yep.
So we've got Howard.
Well,
Susie,
Yeah, I could do it. I could do a 9 a.m.,
You can
So,
on the
yes.
30th?
Okay.
but I
so
gotta
the-
be out of there by 10:30.
Yeah, well, Jen, do you anticipate it being more than an hour meeting? Or
No.
Walter?
We're
No.
gonna have to have all 3 agencies meet, but I think we can accomplish everything pretty quickly.
We're gonna do the Evelyn Woods speed reading version of 3 meetings. Okay, so let's make it the 30th. There's still people on this call, I realize, who don't even know who that probably is, so.
George Duke.
9 o'clock, the 30th at the county building, and we're gonna talk fast, get everybody out of there. Okay.
I am available, not in present. So if they leave things as they are, I'll be added to the quorum.
Well, if they lead things as they are, then we'll do it by Zoom, where it's a heck of a lot easier for everybody to make it. So let's assume that if we're still allowed to meet virtually, we're going to do it by Zoom. If not, we'll be at the county building at 9 o'clock on the 30th, and Jen will send us an invite, right? Okay.
Okay,
All right. So the last matter is definitely one for executive session. So should we do public comment, or do you want to, I guess there's 2 more meetings. So either way, Ken and Joe and George, we will have to put you on hold in another room and bring you back in. So I guess we should do that. Why don't we do that? Go into executive session. Am I correct, Jen? We need an executive session for the IDA meeting?
Correct.
We do, and it's to
Okay.
discuss the financial credit history of a particular corporation.
Okay.
Motion
So
for executive session.
Scott, second. I'll second it. All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we're gonna go into exec. Jen, if you could put all of our guests into
Yes.
another room, and then we'll be back to you guys soon. Ben, you're getting